I work every day so I can get back to my family and save my family. And everything you're sharing to me just sounds like a made-up story. Like I have no idea what you're talking about.
There is so much to unpack in Kevin Frankie's statements to law enforcement. Number one, how did he not know? And he made several statements throughout that interview that made me question a lot of things as a working American and as a father. So was Kevin Frankie brainwashed? Or is this bullcrap? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. And if an open conversation is something you prefer, then this is the place for you. Welcome to The Point, so let's talk about it.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
So was Kevin brainwashed or is he full of crap? That's the question we're wondering. So let's play devil's advocate for just a moment here, and let's say that his primary job in that family was to be the breadwinner. His focus on being a better husband and father was directed towards bringing in more income. So even if he was running that rat race, trying to climb the corporate ladder, how does he go a year without talking to his children? How does he go that long thinking that this is normal? So maybe him and Ruby had an agreement that during this time they were going to separate when they needed to talk to each other. It was either going to be about finances, themselves, how each other are doing, or their overall relationship. Let's say that's the case. At some point within a year, you should wonder where your kids are. To go that long without asking anything about your children is mind-blowing to me. And I don't see how anybody else can see it differently. Another confusing thing about his statement is he said his involvement was strictly about money. That his job and role within that family was to provide. There is so much wrong with that statement on itself. First off, yes, as a husband, as a father, your job is to provide. Your job is to be that breadwinner to take care of your family. That is absolutely true. But anybody who's been a father for more than 5 minutes will tell you your job's also to be a protector. Your job's also to be a role model. You're supposed to be that rock for your kids to come to when they're facing problems. So what kind of role model was he trying to be? What kind of father figure was he trying to be if he's going to remain completely separated from his kids, no contact whatsoever? How on earth is that acceptable? How on earth does anybody understand this? To say he's been brainwashed is an absolute understatement. Now, I don't go too deep into rabbit holes on this channel, but every now and then I'll poke in one. What about the idea that he had an agreement with his wife Ruby and Jody that he would stay separated as long as he got some kickbacks from the YouTube account or whatever weird program they were developing? What if he said, I'll stay out of the picture, I'll stay out of y'all's hair, but I expect some sort of financial benefit from this because you've got me separated from my kids. And if I'm not going to talk to my kids, see my children, or even ask about them, you're going to have to do something for me. Now, if that's the case, and I'm not saying that is actually what happened, then we've got a whole new level of ridiculous to talk about. Because I can't quite understand how somebody's going to claim to want to be a good father, who's going to claim that he's concerned about his children, hasn't spoke to them in a year and thought that that was okay. So even if that was their agreement, you would think that maybe he heard him on the phone, or he would hear him in the background yelling, playing, or screaming. You would think that he would have had some sort of indication that they're okay, and at least a small piece of them would have said, hey, let me talk to my son, let me talk to my daughter, let me see how they're doing. But apparently none of that happened. He was just completely cool with not having any contact with his kids, trusting his wife, and assuming everything was going to be okay. That is absolutely the dumbest crap I've ever heard. Of course, nobody's implicated him of any crime whatsoever, but he certainly got a nomination for Crap Dad of the Year. How do you stay separated from your children that long and think that that's okay? How does anybody think that it's normal to just be a financial provider, not be a role model, not be in your children's lives? How is that acceptable? He makes the statement that he was told he was just there to pick up one of his kids. He had no idea what he was doing in the police department. Well, in a world where ignorance might be bliss, negligence still isn't okay. There's no justifiable reason for a father to be separated from their children that long without hearing from them. I don't understand what type of agreement they had going on. I don't see how in anybody's eyes this is acceptable. And I can't wrap my mind around how he did not know. At some point he had to have talked to one of his children. Had to say, look, I need to talk to my son, I need to talk to my daughter. But apparently none of that happened. Now this wasn't something I've primarily focused on this channel, and if you like what I'm saying here, hit that like button down below and let me know in the comment section. But the more evidence we've all seen, the more questions have been raised. And somebody within this comment section is going to have to explain to me how he did what he did and that was acceptable. As a husband and a father, I have a mountain of concerns here. Now, as always, if you see any of these things differently, you can let me know down in the comments below. If you want to hear about another weird case you've probably never heard of, check this one out. Y'all be safe now.